Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, mga kaibigan. Masasabi po natin na walang sino mang Pilipino na aamin na wala siyang kamag-anak o kaibigan na nasa ibang bansa. Noong kabataan ko at matagal-tagal na iyon, ang mga sikat na destination ng ating mga kababayan ay ang Guam, ang Wake Island at kamakailan yung Diego Garcia. Subalit nabanggit po ni Bishop Rene Mayugba ng Lawag na yung mga sinaunang Ilocano ang unang nagtungo sa Hawaii at naglingkod sa mga pinyahan. At meron ding accounts na marami rin nung nahirapan sa kanila. Noong pong dekada 70, sinubukan ng ating pamahalaan na magpadala ng mga manggagawa sa iba't ibang bansa, partikular sa gitnang silangan. At ang sabi ay stopgap measure ito to provide employment to our compatriots who are looking for jobs at the time in the Philippines. Yung sinasabing stopgap measure na iyon, sabi, pag Tagalog na yan, pansamantala. Subalit, nagtagal po, naging pansamantagal. Kaya dumami ang mga Pilipino sa iba't ibang bahagi ng daigdig. Nung pong ako'y unang kumuha ng aking birth certificate sa NSO at the time, may kasabay akong kumukuha rin ng record niya. At patungo siya sa Malawi. Kinailangan kong maghanap doon sa aking aklat. Nasaan ba yung Malawi? At yun ay nasa Africa. Marami pong mga Pilipino ngayon ang nasa iba't ibang bansa. Ang masaklap nito ay meron tayong COVID-19. At marami po tayong mga kababayan ang uuwi. Sinasabi po ng Bangko Sentral na malaki ang papel ng ating mga kababayan sa ating ekonomiya. Malaki ang ambag nila doon sa gross domestic product at maging sa gross national income. We're happy to have with us Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin E. Diokno, na dati pong DBM Secretary at Profesor ng Ekonomiya sa pamantasan ng Pilipinas, ang pinakamagaling na pamantasan sa Diliman. Kasama rin po natin mula sa Tripoli, Libya, ang Chargè, the Affairs, si Ginoong Elmer Cato na dati ring mamamahayag at may nasa foreign service. Si Father Restie Ogsimer, kasama rin natin. Siya po naman ay Executive Secretary ng CBCP Episcopal Commission on Migrants and Itinerant People. At makakasama rin natin si Attorney Edwin de la Cruz ng Migrante International. Bago natin pakinggan ang statements ng ating kasamang si Governor Ben Diokno, hihingi muna tayo ng situationer doon sa Libya sapagkat marami rin tayong mga kababayan na problemado ron. With your indulgence, Governor, pakinggan muna natin si Ginoong Elmer Cato mula po naman sa Tripoli, Libya. Elmer, magandang umaga.
Yeah, good morning, Hello, good morning to everyone.
Can you please tell us anong sitwasyon ngayon dyan sa Libya at marami pa rin mga Pilipinong naririyan?
Well, literally, no, the situation is explosive. So, kahapon lang, marami na naman explosions. As you know, there's a civil war going on in Libya, and since April last year, ay nagsimula yung offensive ng mga puwersa na nagagaling sa eastern part ng country, So, of course, apektado yung mga ating kababayan. There are 2,300 Filipinos still working here in Libya. About 1,000 of them are here in Tripoli, kung saan nagkakaroon ng bakbakan. At yung kalahati nasa ibang parts ng Libya. Of this number, about half, 1,000 are working in the healthcare sector, ng mga nurses and other hospital workers. Yung iba are oil workers. We have some university professors also here, and also some dependents. So aside from the conflict, we also have COVID. Libya, fortunately, has only 77 cases so far, and somehow we're fortunate na walang nadadamay na kababayan natin, especially sa ating mga kasamang health workers who are also expected to serve in the front lines here in Libya. So our concern right now actually is not more on COVID, but on the ongoing conflict. Dahil in the past several weeks, dumami yung shelling, and this artillery strikes, have been targeting residential areas, and a number of hospitals where our kababayan work have unfortunately been targeted. In fact, last Saturday, natamaan yung isang kababayan natin, a 60-year-old female nurse, was wounded by shrapnel in the shoulder when artillery struck an area near their housing compound in the southern outskirts of Tripoli. So, yun yung pinaka-concern natin, yung chance na magkaroon tayo ng collateral damage, at tumitindi yung labanan. So, we've been issuing advisories to our kababayan na kung maaari, kung ayaw nilang magpa-repatriate, ay lumikas pansamantala kung papalapit na yung gulo sa kanilang mga lugar. Opo. So, yun yung ating concern at this point.
Opo. Lumarating po ba yung pagkakataon na pag may advisory kayo, ang sinasabi ng ating mga kababayan, they would rather stay in Libya rather than go home to the Philippines where their future is uncertain? May ganun po bang pagkakataon?
Well, actually, just last night, we were talking to some of our kababayan in the area where the fighting is approaching, and we've been telling them there are about 30 of them in southern outskirts, most of them nurses. And sinasabi natin na dyan papunta yung laban at baka maipit sila. And unfortunately, despite all our efforts to convince them to evacuate, they said they feel safer there. At compared to last year, ay mas matindi yung bombahan. So, yun yung kinakabahala namin dito sa embahada, yung parang helpless na kami because once the hostilities in that particular area start, there's really no way for them to get out and also for us to be able to come in to get them. We have 2 officers from the Armed Forces of the Philippines who have been here since March, and they've been helping us monitor and analyze the situation. And yun nga, nakakalungkot, nakaka-frustrate that despite all our efforts to convince our kababayan to go home, they said they could not. And yung reasons naman nila are really valid. Like all OFWs, our kababayan here in Libya, are here to support their families back home. Okay. We computed at an average of $1,000 per month. Our OFWs there bring home about 1.3 billion pesos every year. So napakalaking tulong sa mga families nila sa Pilipinas at naintindihan natin to, Melo, last year I was still in TFA Manila and we already had the problem in Libya. And it was really so difficult for us back there in Manila to understand why ayaw umuwi ng ating mga kababayan dito sa Libya despite all the fighting that has been going on. At nung dumating ako noong March and in my interactions with our kababayan during the past year, ay naintindihan ko kung bakit talaga ayaw nilang umuwi pa. At as I've said, family yung primary reason. Our observation here is that yung mga nurses natin dito, karamihan nasa late 40s, 50s, and 60s. And they've been here since the 1980s, most of them. I met a 68-year-old nurse who's still working. So, yung isang reason dyan ay maganda yung pakikitungo ng mga Libyano sa ating mga kababayan. So, it's one of the main reasons why they chose to stick it out with them. I've been told that the Libyans have been treating our kababayan like family. Hindi kami papabayaan, sir. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Nung gulo ng 2011, 2014, kinukup nila kami. Hindi ko kami pinabayaan. So, yun yung isang reason bakit hindi sila makaalis. Then, of course, there are also other problems. Like some of our kababayan who want to go home could not because they're waiting for end of service benefits or other gratuities that are due them. As you know, may crisis dito ngayon, and yung mga nurses natin, hospital workers, especially those working in government hospitals, have been telling me that some of them have not been receiving their salaries on time. So, isang reason rin yan kung bakit hindi pa sila ready umuwi. At isang magandang story dyan, last year I met 3 generations of one family. Yung parents came here in the 80s, nagkaroon ng anak, pinaaral sa Manila, naging nurse din, nakapag-asawa ng Filipino nurse, at ngayon may apo na. So, deeply rooted na yung presence ng mga kababayan natin dito. So, that's why it's really so difficult that last year we were only able to repatriate about 149 Filipinos out of the 2,300. And this year we repatriated 29. We have about 40 now waiting to go home, but unfortunately, because the airports have been closed, we're having difficulty in finding flights to take them home. But hopefully, we'll be able to do so in the near future.
Yeah. Elmer, you stay safe. Alam kong matutulog pa kayo sapagkat alas 3 ng umaga dyan. Hindi naman kayo magko-close shop, no? One last point. You will not abandon ang mga kababayan dyan.
Actually, the Philippines is one of a few countries that still maintain an active diplomatic presence here in Tripoli. We did not leave in 2011, we did not leave in 2014, and we have no plans of leaving now. Our instructions are very clear from the Secretary himself. We have to stay here until the last Filipino decides to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. And you can hit the sack. Thank you very much. God bless you. Stay safe. Keep us posted. Thank you. Salamat po. Governor, magandang umaga po. We just had our on-the-spot report from Libya. At yun yung sinasabi na parang hindi na muna uuwi yung mga kababayan natin. Can we exist as a country, as an economy, kung wala po yung ating remittances? Governor, take the floor.
All right. Good morning, Melo, and to everyone joining us in today's virtual Wednesday roundtable. While nothing beats face-to-face interactions, I think we all are still getting used to the fact that virtual meetings are now becoming the norm. The COVID-19 pandemic has significantly changed our lives, not only in the way we do things at present, but also in the way we view the future. Indeed, this crisis is not like anything we have seen in the past. As such, individual economies and business entities respond in ways that reflect how they perceive the continued uncertainty over the path, magnitude, and duration of the impact of the global health crisis. So I take this opportunity to briefly share the BSP's views on latest developments and prospects on the Philippine economy as we face today's circumstances. I will also discuss policy actions adopted by the BSP in support of the government's overall strategy to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and help stabilize market conditions and restore confidence. First, let me highlight that when this global health crisis broke out, the Philippine economy was in a position of strength, with GDP growth averaging at above 6% over the past 8 years. The robust growth of the domestic economy in recent years has been achieved in an environment of generally stable inflation and has been anchored on purposeful structural reforms. The country's strong track record of prudent policymaking has likewise led to robust external payments position, record high international reserves, improved external debt metrics, healthy public finances, and positive macroeconomic performances. At the same time, Philippine banks continues to be sound, stable, and well-functioning. Nevertheless, we are equally mindful that the outlook for both global and domestic economic growth in 2020 and 2021 remains bleak. The IMF, in its April 2020 World Economic Outlook report, expects global economic activity to shrink radically in 2020, given widespread disruptions caused by COVID-19. While a partial recovery is anticipated in 2021, global GDP level is expected to remain below the pre-COVID trend. The IMF projects global economic growth to contract sharply by 3% this year before inching up to 5.8% in 2021. 9 out of 10 countries in the IMF's 189 country membership are expected to see their economies contract, including the Philippines. The Development Budget Coordination Committee has recently announced the national government's revised GDP growth forecast range from -2 to -3.4% for this year. And this is a sharp departure from the 6.5% to 7.5% growth target before the COVID-19.
Mhm.
For next year, the DBCC expects the domestic economy to recover strongly, with a GDP growth forecast ranging from 7.1% to 8.1%. This strong rebound is based on the assumption that there is no serious second wave of the disease, and that the government would be able to craft and implement a robust economic recovery program. In this slide, we show that overseas Filipino remittances have been on a steady growth path in recent years and have contributed to as well to domestic economic expansion. Last year, it was around the remittances amounted to about $30 billion. And for the first 2 months of this year, cash remittances still grew by about 5% to reach US $5 billion. With its strong contribution to consumption expenditure, we understand the growing concern on how the COVID-19 pandemic will impact on future remittance flows into the country. In this regard, the BSP closely monitors the latest reports from POEA, the DOLE, DFA on overseas Filipino workers' deployment, displacement, and repatriation status. Overseas Filipino remittances could contract this year due mainly to the large repatriation of workers and economic disruptions in host countries. The World Bank projects a decline in global remittances by about 20% in 2020, with remittances to East Asia and the Pacific expected to decline by 13%, driven mainly by declining inflows from the US, which is the largest source of remittances to the region. However, it is important to point out that crisis or no crisis, Filipinos abroad continue to send remittances to their families at home. It would appear that OF remittances have an altruistic character, making the adverse impact of remittances temporary. Now, to mitigate the impact of the pandemic and ensure economic recovery post-COVID-19, the national government laid out a 4-pillar socioeconomic strategy, and the BSP's contribution to the overall stabilization efforts fall under the 3rd pillar. We expect the economy will recover more strongly once fiscal and monetary stimulus gain traction and workers and firms resume operations. We expect a gradual U-shaped recovery for the Philippine economy. In support of the government's efforts toward a rapid economic recovery, the BSP implemented a package of extraordinary measures to ensure sufficient liquidity in the system, as well as provide regulatory relief to financial institutions. These measures include a reduction in the monetary policy rate by 125 basis points since the start of the year. 25 basis points in February, 50 basis points in March, and another 50 basis points in April. Second, reduction in the reverse requirement ratio by 200 basis points. Third, purchase of government securities in the secondary market. Fourth, reduction in the overnight reserve repurchase volume offering. Fifth, engaging in repurchase agreement with the national government amounting to 300 billion pesos, and approval of a package of measures to reduce the financial burden on loans to micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, which would help hasten the sector's recovery. The assistance directed to MSMEs could also enable these entities to extend support to displaced OFWs who are planning to shift and engage in business operations. In addition, BSP has remitted 20 billion as advanced dividends to the national government. Under our amended charter, the BSP is no longer mandated to remit its dividends to the national government, but we have decided to do so in the spirit of being part of the government. The Monetary Board has also approved the granting of temporary regulatory and rediscount relief measures to BSP supervised financial institutions. Some of these measures include relaxation of BSP regulations, such as a single borrower's limit to allow BSFIs to lend more, non-imposition of penalty for reserve deficiencies and compliance period with BSP supervisory and reportorial requirements, to allow banks to focus on the delivery of financial services, and we waive fees on digital financial services. Meanwhile, prudential accounting relief measures were also implemented to reduce the impact of mark-to-market losses on the financial condition of supervised financial institutions. Moreover, the BSP has implemented extraordinary liquidity measures to complement the national government's program in mitigating the impact of COVID-19. These measures include a 300 billion repurchase agreement with the Bureau of Treasury, as well as the launching of a package of measures to support lending to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Recognizing the importance of MSMEs in the economy, the BSP allowed banks to include MSME loans as part of their compliance with the required reserve ratio. The credit risk weight of MSME loans that are currently in status was temporarily reduced, while MSME loans with government guarantee were assigned zero weight. And so these policy measures are all aimed at encouraging more bank lending to MSMEs. In closing, let me emphasize that the BSP has responded swiftly and decisively to mitigate economic and financial fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic through its monetary instruments and regulatory relief measures. The harsh reality, however, is that there remains risk to our growth outlook even as a strong recovery is expected for 2021. So the challenge for policymakers is to provide tangible boost to the economy through the appropriate mix of fiscal response and monetary measures. And even as we enable the economy to gradually recover, we also continue with our efforts to make it more nimble to adapt to the changing times. In particular, the BSP is committed to pursuing a 3-year digital payments transformation roadmap that includes priority initiatives such as open banking. I believe that the ongoing changes to the domestic economy are a good opportunity to accelerate the BSP's call towards greater digitalization to promote a more efficient and inclusive financial system and also prepare the economy for the emerging new economy. The BSP will continue to work with market participants and relevant government authorities to ensure that its policy responses and reform initiatives remain timely and appropriate for the challenging times ahead of us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Governor. It's indeed a pleasure listening to your briefing. We will be opening the floor to questions in a very short while. Let's have Father Restie Ogsimer of the Episcopal Commission on Migrants and Itinerant People for his opening statements. Father Restie, how has the Catholic Church looked at migration? Good morning.
Good morning, Melo, and to all the viewers of this program. It is an important area of concern for the Catholic Church. Migration has always been a very important aspect of the pastoral ministry and spiritual welfare of the overseas Filipino workers. There are more than 10 million of them. So right now we are heavily monitoring, and we are also engaged with OFWs, both the sea-based and land-based sector. And then, of course, we are receiving cases of many stranded OFWs in different parts of the globe. We are also monitoring the refugees in the Philippines because nobody is taking care of them. And there has been lately a concern on online sexual exploitation of children and the youth. No? Bishop Santos, our vice chair in the commission, has recently released a pastoral statement on this matter. No? And we also have programs for increasing cases of distressed, depressed, and hopeless OFWs, both here in the Philippines and abroad. We have available online services for counseling on matters of this nature.
Okay. So
and
how would the church respond to the possibility that most of them will be returning home? What can you offer? What assistance would you think would be best?
So right now, there are two programs we have in mind. One is the short term, the other one is the long term. No? This is a collaborative work between the Catholic bishops, the Archdiocese of Manila, the different dioceses of the Philippines, and then we are also in collaboration with the Migrants and Refugees section of the Vatican, no? And also of different religious orders who have migration ministry. Under the short term, we do have a plan to give out cash aid. No, there will be cash aid grantees, around 300 for the land-based, and maybe 500 for the sea-based. No? Mm-hmm. This is probably sometime in June or later in the year to assist financially distressed and displaced OFWs who have not received financial aid from any of the government agencies.
Okay.
Then the long term is what we call microfinance aid also. We are looking at maybe $100 for 200 families. No? This is land-based category. No? The sea-based category, I think in June, it will already be given. No? But it will be in a form of cash voucher worth 4,000 pesos. No? Okay. So same requirement, same guideline. Any of the distressed and displaced workers who have not received the financial assistance from the government or from any organization.
Okay. Thank you very much, Father. Thank you. We'd like to open the floor to our colleagues from the media who may have questions for the good governor, especially on matters of the economy. Siguro we can start. Nasa linya na si Jerome Morales of Reuters. Jerome, for your questions, please. Jerome? Yes, go ahead with your questions. Jerome? O sige, Jim Gomez of Associated Press. Jim? Sandali po. Karen of Reuters. Karen? All right. Siguro, Governor.
Let me reply first. Let me respond to your question earlier on the impact on the oil. Let's do the math. No, let's do the math.
Please.
Last year, the total remittances amounted to $30 billion. $30 billion.
Okay.
The World Bank forecasts that the remittances will globally decline by 20%.
Okay.
And 13% for Asia Pacific countries, 13%. So let's assume that the OFW remittances will decline by 10%. I'm not accepting that because we're forecasting growth for this year, no? 10%. So that means that the remittances this year will be about 27 billion. That's still a huge amount. And part of that can be made up by the increase in the money coming in from the BPO industry. As you know, because of the crisis, there has been increased digitalization, use of online banking, etc. And there will be an increase in BPO industry. And going back to what I said, the historically, as you can see from the graph, the remittances have increased, crisis or no crisis. So let's agree that this is like no other crisis in the past, right? But you know, the remittances has, as I said, taken the nature of, it's an altruistic. In other words, Filipino overseas workers tend to send more money back home whenever there's a crisis, because they know that their families back home need the money.
Yes.
So, but the point is, the reality is that some overseas Filipino workers have been repatriated, and so we're closely monitoring that. Right now, I think the number of workers repatriated, if my data is correct, is around 30,000. Okay, so that's maybe about 20,000 are the sea-based workers. That's of course natural because of the cruise ships have actually significantly affected, and only about 10,000 land-based workers. So there's a lot of once the economy opens up, we have this build program, and I think that those who are coming in from the Middle East, construction workers, they can easily be absorbed by our build program. And there's also a demand for contact contact tracing. You trace those who are positive. I think we need something like 100,000 people for those kind of contact tracing personnel. So if you have maybe a degree in education, you're a former teacher or whatever, I think you can be recruited as part of that.
Yeah. Governor, how would we compare our experience in sending our compatriots abroad with that of other countries? Because when I looked at the figures, even the Chinese and the Indians, they have more remittances than the Philippines. Is it because of the quality of people we send abroad?
No, because there are many more Chinese and Indians, okay? There are 1.4 billion Chinese and 1.4 billion Indians, okay? So that explains the magnitude. But, you know, we should not let this unprecedented crisis go to waste. There are many opportunities that we must seize as a result of this. I think one thing that will be developed, I think, is there will be a huge demand for health workers as a result of this crisis. Because it's not going to be the end of this pandemic. there will be more pandemics in the future. So we should continue to train nurses, doctors, health workers, etc. And also, because of this crisis, there is now a move towards more digitalization. And therefore, we should actually develop our Filipino workers to become more computer specialists, data analysts, etc. So, you know, the world is really globalizing. And I think because of our advantage, demographic advantage, we can develop our people. Our median age, Mello, is 25, very young, tech savvy. So we develop our people. So we develop health workers, we develop computer specialists, and we will export them abroad after this pandemic. Isn't that nice? Then the quality of our exports will increase. And we will, as a result, we will continue to benefit from the overseas Filipino remittances.
Yeah, great. That's nice. We have a question from Warren de Guzman. Warren, go ahead with your question. Good morning and welcome. Warren.
Good morning. Good morning to the panel and good morning, Governor Diokno. I just wanted to ask because just basing on the data schedule, the data release schedule of the BSP, we're a bit behind on some of the information being released. That's understandable because of the circumstances. But would you have already the information for March in terms of OFW remittances? And would you be able to discuss that with us?
We don't have that yet, but maybe in a few days we'll have the March numbers. Okay. On the GIR, we already have that. It's now, I think, 90 billion US dollars. Okay? And we have revised our end of the year forecast for GIR. It will be something like 94 billion US dollars, highest ever. All right. So those are some numbers that we have updated.
Okay.
Okay, just as a follow-up, we were able to interview some remittance companies, and they say they've already seen a sizable decline in the remittances coming in. They're expecting in the order of a contraction of in the order of 10% for the year. So that's pretty big.
That's what I said, Warren. Assume 10% this quarter, because as you know, we have already allowed the new employment. We have allowed our OFWs to leave. We have started doing that, right? So maybe if you just look at March, that you'll get a distorted picture of the whole year. All right. January, February is nice. March is, I'm sure, March and April will be bad, but we don't know about the second half of the year.
Okay. All right. Warren, okay. Thank you.
Just one more question, Melo, for the governor. Governor, regarding the planned fiscal stimulus, you mentioned that you're hoping that something will be put together. There's been values thrown around 1.3 trillion, 1.5 trillion in the various bills in the lower house. What do you think of those values and the plans, the packages put together? Focusing on food supply, the food supply chain, build, but especially the values. Do you think that's enough to stimulate us, to get us back to what you're expecting next year, which is a growth of 7.1 to 8%?
I don't know whether that 1.3 trillion you mentioned, is that a multi-year or, you know, because to me, the most effective stimulus will be that which will create a lot of jobs. And it can be spent immediately, all right? That makes a lot of difference. Give more jobs, that will lead to more consumption, and that will lead to more economic activity. That works. But when you talk of more other measures, I don't know whether those are related to, you know, employment. I think employment is the key here. A lot of people lost their jobs, and they should rejoin the labor market as soon as possible. And so that should be the focus of the stimulus.
Yeah, Governor.
Thank you.
Yeah, Governor, let me ask you. Would the BSP have working relations with POEA to find out the kind of people we're sending abroad? Because whether we like it or not, the world is in need of medical workers. Most of our nurses have gone abroad. Yung mga doktor natin, may kilala ako, nag-nurse para makarating ng Amerika. Meron ba tayong clear-cut policy on the kind of people that we're supposed to train? Because even Chen and Tesla are talking of yung market-driven curriculum. Ano po ang inyong pananaw dito, Governor?
Unfortunately, that is not within our ambit. I'm just proposing it as an economist.
Yes.
That is really outside my area, and but it makes a lot of sense. I think we should train less of the bartenders, for example, and maybe people who serve in the restaurant. I think we should train more construction workers because we have a very ambitious build program, which is ongoing. So I think we should focus on those skills needed to support the economy, rather than training more beautician or something like that. Tesla should refocus their programs in line with what we need. Maybe we can train more health workers. Not necessarily nurses, but or caregivers. That's also in demand in an aging economy, world economy. That's in demand too. So we have to be, as I said, let's not let this unprecedented crisis go to waste. Let's look at the opportunities in the future.
Okay. We have a question from Bloomberg. Zeg, good morning and welcome to the discussions. Please come in.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Governor.
Morning.
Yes.
I couldn't see you. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in. My video's turned off. But anyway, Governor, very quickly, my question is about remittances and the currency. The peso has been one of the more stable currencies in emerging Asia, part of which could be attributed to belief of some market players that remittances will continue to hold up. But as more data comes in, and there's a possibility that there could be, as you said, a contraction in remittances, do you see a risk of the peso being more volatile in the coming months as market participants churn in or digest more data that comes in terms of dollar inflows?
The peso is
That's a nice question.
the most stable currency in this part of the world, right? It's better than, say, other currencies. Do I see that it will be unstable as a result of maybe some reduction in the overseas Filipino remittances? No. Why? Because we have a hefty gross international reserves. Our gross international reserves is right now in the neighborhood of $90 billion. And by the end of the year, we expect that to be around $94 billion. Where the study of the IMF says that to us, to them, a reserve of about 60 billion will be more than enough for the demands of the Philippine economy. So that's about 30 billion difference. That even if you assume that zero remittances from overseas Filipino workers, that will still be a big or a sound number, 60 billion. So as I said right now, it will be 94 billion by year end. Secondly, our fundamentals really are very strong. There's a recent study by the economists, and they rank the Philippines as one of the financially strong countries among 66 emerging economies, and the best in this number one in this part of the world. So I'm not worried about a slight dip of, as I said, 10% dip. That is fairly manageable.
Okay. Ano po ang pagkakaiba ng mga policies ng ating Bangko Sentral? Kung ihambing natin sa ating mga kalapit bansa, how different are our programs from that of our ASEAN neighbors?
Yung mga ibang bansa po, they run out of their arsenal. Yung sabi, kumbaga, yung traditional monetary tools like reserve requirement or the interest rate, no, policy interest rate. Nasa negative na po sila eh, or at least zero. US is practically zero. Tayo po, meron pa tayong elbow room. Remember, we started from, when I took office last year, ang interest rate po natin is 4%. 4%. We reduce it now to 2.75%. We still have long ways to go para bago tayo dumating dun sa zero. No? And in fact, ang nakamabuti nito ay yung inflation rate natin ay better behave. No? Ang forecast po namin sa inflation originally is 2 to 4, meaning 2% to 4% or midpoint 3%. But it turns out that ngayon lumalabas na baka will be close to 2 rather than, in fact, kung original forecast po namin, mag-a-average tayo ng 2.2% for this year, binaba na sa 2%. So we still have a lot of elbow room. Ang isa pa hong tool natin, traditional tool in monetary policy, is yung tinatawag natin reserve requirement. Yung po yung nire-require natin ang mga bangko na magdeposito sa Bangko Sentral ng corresponding amount, no, para reserve nila yon, no. So nag-umpisa po ako, that was around 18%. So for every 100 pesos na nakukuha nilang deposit, they are required to deposit within the central bank 18 pesos. Ngayon binabanap namin yan to 12%. So ang impact po noon, for every 1 percentage point reduction, we release into the system something like 90 to 100 billion pesos. Kaya ngayon po, napakataas po ng liquidity sa merkado. Hindi po sila nag-worry ngayon and we have calmed down the market. So
okay, very good. Karen Lema of Reuters got some questions for the good governor. Or Jerome. Please go
Hi,
ahead.
Melo.
Yes.
Hi, Governor. Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Gov, sir. I just wanted to ask, I know you did say a while ago, but you're expecting growth in remittances, but I think that contrasts with the more dire forecast we've seen from foreign banks, like for instance, ING expecting a decline. And because of that, they're expecting that the current account deficit would widen this year. Definitely way higher than last year's current account deficit of 430 million, if I'm not mistaken. Is that something that you share, Governor, or because they're saying, and as what the government has said, you're expecting to ramp up your infrastructure projects next year, and therefore you expect a lot of imports, and then you're expecting remittances to take a hit. So what's the feeling about the outlook for the current account deficit?
Well, okay, let's go back to yung math ko kanina. No? Received last year, we received $30 billion from the remittances. Assuming a 10% cut, no, or decline, that's still 27 billion. And as I said, part of that could be made up by, of course, maybe a more dynamic BPO industry, right? Of course, there's a loss in tourism industry. But as I said, we're starting from a GIR of $90 billion. So we're very comfortable. And yung sinasabi mong current account, in fact, we actually reduced the current account deficit because of the collapse of the oil prices also. Mm-hmm. And of course, the slowdown in the importation of some, I'm sure, the luxury goods that we used to import, siguro magmeron tayong break muna doon, di ba? So we're comfortable with both the BOP and the current account deficit.
All right. Thank you, Gov.
Okay. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga kapatid sa Hanabuhay. Baka may tanong pa kayo kay Governor Jonah Balyaran of GG Press. Please go ahead. Joanna? All right. Si Warren may pahabol. Warren, go ahead. Warren.
Hello, Gov. Yes, there you go. Thank you, Melo. We just got the Governor. We just got the information on FDI inflows at $657 million. That's a 12.1% up year on year. Could you just comment on that? What do you think about that? And what do you think about what are your expectations for FDI moving forward in the succeeding months? Of course, that figure is pre-COVID, you know. So how do you feel about that?
What is that year to date ba yan or hanggang March ba yan or what's the number?
No, sir, it's only for January, $657 million, so up 12.1%.
I know, you know, there's a the forecast of a global decline in FDI. So we're closely monitoring. I cannot comment yet but as I said, the Philippines is a very attractive place to invest post-COVID. Diba? Meron ng study yung IMF, rather yung economist, and there's also the study by the CEO magazine, right? And they rank the Philippines as one of the most attractive investment destination post-COVID. So we're banking on that, but I think we should also, as a country, we should not rest on those international publications support. I think we should do more. I think Congress should pass all those laws that will make the Philippines really attractive.
Yeah. Okay. Jerome of Reuters. Jerome, come in.
Hello.
Go ahead. Jerome.
Hello, good morning, sir. Good morning, Gov. Good morning, Sir Melo.
Morning.
Yes, okay. Pardon the disconnection earlier. My internet.
Yes, go ahead.
So, yeah, very quick question in terms of the RRRs. Gov, what have you noticed in terms of the recent RRR cuts? Where have these funds been going? And with this observation, what does this tell us in terms of the timing for further cuts in RRR? Thank you.
You know, at the start of the crisis, the Monetary Board gave me the authority, to cut the reserve requirement by 400 basis points. I have already cut it by 200 basis points. So, kung gusto ko pa mag-cut, pwede pa, another 200 basis points. That's delegated authority. But right now, we're still monitoring what's the liquidity position of the banking industry. And so far, taas in liquidity. Where does the money go? I think the money goes to the government treasuries, government securities. So that's what we noticed. But what we really want them to do is to increase lending to especially to the micro, small, and medium enterprises. But you know, public policy should allow whether it's fiscal or monetary. So hindi naman kaagad-agad na binigyan mo sila ng so much liquidity. They convert this right away overnight into lending. Of course, they have to do some their own computation, price their program, and so on. But there's we noticed some movement. So that's to answer your question. It's going right now. It's going, most of it is going to government securities, but it's also going to lending. So there's activity.
Yeah,
I see. Thank you so much.
Governor, let me ask you this. I know you're only good until 10 o'clock because of previous commitments.
Last question, Melo. Go.
I heard from several people, let's say bus operators, they have loans, no, sa mga bangko. Pero kung walang biyahe at reduced yung capacity, how will their loans impact on the banking industry? Paano tayo mabubuhay dahil yung perang pinahiram mula rin naman sa mga depositors? How do you look at it? Give us your projections as well.
Kaya nga binababa namin yung interest rate, binababa rin we are relaxing on the reserve requirement so that hopefully this will filter down to the borrowers. Okay, yun naman ang objective namin dito eh. Hindi naman na to benefit the banking industry per se, but makatulong tayo sa mga katulad ng mga sinabi mo. So the banks will of course craft their own program para matulungan nila yung mga depositors nila. And there's a bill impending in Congress right now where for some industries that will be adversely affected by the pandemic, baka hindi talaga sila makabayad. Or so we are for creating what is called an asset management company. So yung mga banko naman, they will sell yung mga ganong klaseng accounts so they can continue to lend money. So yung banking industry itself will be healthy by setting aside yung mga bad loans nila to that asset management company. That AMC, Asset Management Company, will be given some tax incentives by the government. So we're doing everything, in coordination with the national government.
Yeah. In closing, can you share with us your projections? We still have about 2 minutes for you.
As I said, we'll suffer a contraction, but that's true for all countries in the world. Either there's severe reduction or slowdown or talagang negative territory, but we'll bounce back very strongly next year, assuming that we behave properly, and assuming that the package of measures that the government is contemplating is being implemented. So let's follow the government's advice. Keep safe, stay home if we don't have any business. Kasi hanggang walang vaccine, baka magkaroon ng second or third waves. Iwasan natin yung second and third waves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sa ating pong kasama si Father Restie, tuloy pa rin po ating talakihan, Father Restie. Governor, thank you very much. Please stay healthy.
Thank you.
Salamat po.
Keep safe, everyone.
Sakali sa Tuesday.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Governor.
All right. Father Restie, let's look forward. Anong nakikita niyong kinabukasan ng overseas employment? Meron pa bang kinabukasan? Father. Yes, paki-unmute lang.
Mute.
Yan. Okay. May kinabukasan pa ba?
Of course, there is. As long as we are breathing, there is tomorrow, no?
Yeah.
Siguro what is important is for the displaced overseas Filipino workers, mahalaga na they will find a support system. So once they are back to their communities, at least they must find people whom they can find comfort and consolation in this moment of crisis. No? So yan siguro ang isang mahalagang aspeto na tinitingnan ng simbahan na in the end, if they are jobless in the next 10 months or 1 year, how do they live by? No? So yan siguro ang isang magandang pagnilayan, and therefore looking also at our programs, we are looking at church communities adopting a family, no? Kahit isa lang. Especially if they are not church, they are not members of a community, believing community, siguro to extend help to them, to assure them that there is a support community that can accompany them at the journey.
Yeah. Father, let me ask you this. Yung inyong kongregasyon, yung Scalabrines. Yes. They're helping mostly seafarers, no? Ano yung feeling ng mga seafarers, lalo pa at yung cruise ships, yung cruise industry, parang nag-fold up for the meantime? Father?
Right now, we have more than 100 seafarers in our dormitories. No, this is in the Metro Manila area. So far, of course, initially it looks bleak, no, kasi 90% of the returnees from abroad are seafarers, no, from the cruise ships, and unfortunately, there are more than 100,000 of them in our records in the data we can get from the POAA. But that is not something permanent, no? So I think what is crucial is while in the absence of available jobs abroad for them, they can manage to survive, no? But once things will normalize, then the demand, no, for Filipino seafarers will continue on, no? So even in the midst of the pandemic, lately we have had people who were quarantined in our facilities. They were able to get out of the country, no? So mayroong deployments for seafarers in the cargo and ano ba yun, yung mga tankers, no? So that is ongoing, and the projection is this month or next month may change of crew, no? So yung mga nasa labas naka-duty, they will finish contract, and then once the old workers will take their holidays, new ones will be absorbed in, no? So there will be there is hope for those in the cargo and the tankers sector.
Pero ang karamihan kasi natin nasa cruise ngayon eh. Sabi nung taga Magsaysay, meron silang 25,000 Filipinos in the cruise business eh. Kung sarado yun, mahirap talaga, no?
Yes, that is true, no? Pero we have observed dito sa aming centers, the seafarers, they know how to survive. They know very well. They can manage very well. So crucial lang na in their moments of desolation and hopelessness, they find encouragement. So yan siguro kasi even with our dealings iba't ibang updates ng diocese sa bansa, from the seafarers families, lalo na yung mga deployed already, the wives are saying that our husbands need to be assured of constant prayers, no, from the families themselves or from a faith community, assuring them of their well-being and safety.
Yeah. Pat Santos, magandang umaga. May tanong ka kay Father. Please come in. Oops. Unmute muna. Good.
Okay. Malino na.
Maganda.
Father, anong comment mo sa mga local government na once nalaman nila na mostly na yung mga galing sa cruise ship, alam natin matataas ang bilang na nag-positive dyan. Yung iba clear na ayaw pa rin papasukin. How do you deal with that? Yung trauma na yun at yung mga discrimination na yan na kukuha nila sa community. Ngayong bumabalik sila. How do you deal with that? Mga problemang gano'n.
Father?
Okay. Siguro sa issue na ito, napakahalaga ng papel ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno. Because unfortunately, we also have noticed na may mga opisyal tayo ng gobyerno na ang mga OFWs ay they are stigmatized, no? Or
Oo, tama.
A stronger term is demonized. So I think this is a normal reaction. Pero how do you solve the problem? Siguro manggagaling yung assurance na okay sila sa mga ahensya ng gobyerno who have direct contacts with our OFWs, no? So kailangan siguraduhin ng gobyerno na they are safe, they have been through certain processes, no? Kasi my cases kami, no, those who are stranded, they have been quarantined in their country of destination, no? So bago sila makabalik dito, na-quarantine na sila. Although there are cases na sila ay positive, but that's very minimal, no? Yung latest figures out of the nearly 30,000 na check, less than 1,000 ang positive, no? So part of the solution is to refrain from demonizing them, no? So, sino ang magsasabi na, oh, itong taong ito ay safe siya, hindi siya contagious, hindi siya virus carrier? Siyempre, tayo, we are watchers in the whole flow, no? So, ang ahensya ng gobyerno has to give the assurance, no? Kung kailangan nilang makipag-ugnayan sa local government units to assure na ito na test na yan that has been cleared, no? So, wala nang pagdadalawang isip na sila ay i-quarantine uli for a given number of days before they are reconciled or makapiling nila uli ang kanilang mga kapamilya, no? Kamag-anak.
Follow up lang, Melo.
Go.
Follow up lang ganito po. Yung po bang balik probinsya sa tingin nyo, magiging epektibo yan sa mga taong sa tingin nyo talagang desperado na itong COVID magtatagal. Hindi sila pwede magtagal sa Maynila, wala na silang makain or sa abroad wala na. Palagay niyo po ba yan pong balik probinsya ay isang maliit na tugon lang sa mga pangailangan ng mga maliit na mga bilang ng ating mga Pilipino local at saka yung galing sa abroad?
Dalawang aspeto sa balik probinsya, no? The first is it is gonna be attractive for OFWs na medyo mature na ang chronological age, no? So kung more than 50 ka na or more than 60, mayroon ka ng capital. If the government will assure them, no, na there is a strong support system for micro industries in the provinces, maganda siya na possibility, no? Ang balik probinsya naman sa second aspect, okay siya right now in this moment of crisis kung ang mga bata pa, no, yung may prospect pa of being employed abroad while the world is in crisis, ay meron silang, kasi sa probinsya naman madaling makahanap ng pagkain. Kung may bigas ka, may ulam ka, you can get by. And then kung may financial support for them to engage in a little business as another source of income, that is very encouraging, no? So parang pantawid hanap buhay for a limited timeline, it will okay as long as the structures that will help them generate income is also in place, no? But the government has to facilitate that.
Father, let me ask you. Binanggit kanina nung ating kaibigang si Mr. Elmer Cato doon sa embahada ng Pilipinas sa Libya na merong mga nurses na liebo sa isna. They don't want to return to the Philippines because they're being treated good, fairly, and they're part of the family. Pero how does such a situation impact on the family structure of the Filipino? Kung ikaw magkakaroon ng matagal na panahon sa abroad, hindi ba apektado yung pamilya which ought to be together? Because that's what family is, right, Father?
Sa mga pag-aaral, no, ang separation among family members, mayroon siyang social impact, no? That's already a fact, no? Ang impact ng pagkakahiwa-hiwalay ng pamilya, mas felt ito among the non-skilled OFWs, no? So yung medyo mas mababa ang income, there are lesser possibilities for them to be reunited in the country of destination of the OFW, no? Kasi from our experience, ang mga highly skilled, they have the capacity to bring along with them their families, no? So kung nurse, kung medyo you belong into the visa category na ang salary cut mo entitles you to bring along your family. That is what's happening to some of our OFWs, no? Yung medyo maayos ang kalagayan, they can bring with them their family members, no? So and it is true, no? Wherever you go in the Middle East, you will find Philippine schools kasi mayroong mga pamilya na doon na nagkaanak, they can afford it, so they get by, no? So kahit yung sinasabi natin na prolonged overseas employment, kahit prolonged siya, if you are economically stable, tapos maganda ang prospects ng employment, okay siya. Magiging problema lang siya kung ang salary mo mababa, which does not entitle you to bring a family member, no, a wife, a child, no. So not even for occasional visits during holidays, no. So may maganyang category. So sila ang mas may impact, nararamdaman nila ang impact ng physical separation. But then lately also, in a way, nakatulong na yung social media, no. The internet has brought closer families who are separated by distance, no. So siguro maging lahat naman yata ng OFWs ay internet savvy, so they can constantly communicate. Ano lang talaga, effort and sacrifice to ensure that their relationships are nurtured.
Yeah, if I recall it right, some years ago, yung ECMI saka yung Scalabrinians had a book prepared. It's about migration. Merong salient findings doon. This was some years ago. Kaya lang, hindi na natuloy ulit yung part 2 eh. Ano po ang salient points dito sa research na ginawang ito?
Ang isang pinaka malakas na impact ay kung ang nanay, let's say, the mother is abroad, no? Ang tatay na iwan together with the children, malakas ang kanyang impact sa family. Kasi mas mahirap maging, sa isang tatay, mas mahirap sa kanya maging nanay at tatay at the same time, no? Kung tatay ang wala, ang nanay, mas madali sa kanya maging tatay at nanay, no? So that's one. So when you scrutinize the OFW family, mahalagang tingnan mo kaagad, you ask the question, who is away from the family? Is it the mother or the father? Ngayon, kung both parents
ang nasa abroad,
kung both parents, of course, you double the vulnerability, no? So then the next question that you will ask is, sino yung substitute parent or carer, no? So is it the grandparents or paid nanny, or is it the auntie, the uncles? Those are the next questions you will ask, and then from there you can figure out what kind of support system you can provide, no? Tapos yung as a follow up from that, kung may bata na naiwan, no, especially under 12, ito ang mas mataas ang impact, no? Kumpara sa mga bata na 12 years old over, no? So mas madali silang makakope sa absence ng kanilang parents, no? And then because of that study, we made sure na mayroong support system sa mga schools, no? So that's why mayroon tayong tinatawag na Sons and Daughters of OFW Formation Program sa mga Catholic schools and even in some public schools all over the country, no? To ensure na ang mga bata, imbis na sila ay tinitingnan na negatibo, no? Kasi doon sa findings, mga pasaway daw ang mga anak ng OFWs, no? But we discovered, no, na pag sila ay nabibigyan ng proper accompaniment, proper formation, they also become achievers, no? So yan ang main discovery ng more than 40 years of Philippine migrations in the country.
If I'm not mistaken, Father, Filipinos in Italy during the 2007-2008, number 5 sila sa nagpapadala ng remittances worldwide. Well, of course, nangunguna na yung Estados Unidos. Pero nagkaroon sila ng family integration program. Naging matagumpay ba yung pagdadala ng mga anak ng ating mga kababayan doon sa Italia?
Ang sagot dyan ay yes and no. Hindi matagumpay kung ang family reunification ay medyo may edad na yung anak. So kung lampas na ng 18, ibig sabihin ang bata na naiwan sa Pilipinas, ang kanyang circle of friends nasa Pilipinas. Then i-uproot mo siya, i-reunite mo with the family abroad. Mahirap ang pag-integrate sa host community. So that's why this is not only true for Italy but also for other countries. May pattern na pag walang circle of friends ang bata sa kanyang pupuntahang bansa, nagiging napapariwara siya. So ngayon kung mas bata pa, then mas malakas ang chance na ma-integrate ang bata sa local host culture. So pwede siyang mag-aral ng lengguwahe, pwede siyang mag-aral doon ng kanyang primary, secondary school hanggang mag-university. So mas mataas na posibilidad na siya ay makakapagtrabaho, and then he becomes like the local people. So yan ang pattern. Yan siguro ang isang dapat laging pag-aaralan. Once may opportunities for family reunification. Ano ba ang profile ng mga anak?
Alright, maganda yon. May binabanggit ngayon dahil sa may COVID-19, baka sakaling magkaroon ng blended approach to education. Merong face-to-face kung wala na yung peligro, pero merong pagtuturo sa pamamagitan ng internet provided guided by parents. What if the parents or either of the parents happens to be working abroad? How will that be?
Dito sa Pilipinas, actually, una sa lahat dito sa aming commission, for the rest of the year, all our trainings will be online. Walang face-to-face. So, siguro the initial training that has to be provided is to capacitate everyone in the sector na maging familiar sila sa mga available facilities na pwedeng magamit online. Then I am sure the schools will do the same. So siguro ang antabayanan natin. How can we all cope sa new normal? So what applies to the locals in the country, yung mga kababayan natin na nandito, same principle that will be applied to OFWs when it comes to parenting, long distance. So siguro kailangan nilang i-orient ang kanilang mga substitute carers how to go about with the new system. Kasi life has to go on. Yes. We cannot be stuck in the crisis.
Okay. Father, for your information, siguro pwedeng i-validate ito. I got a report, a feedback on my Facebook. Pakitanong lang yung mga kaibigan natin sa DOLE at sa OWA. Alam nyo, kinumbida natin yung DOLE saka yung OWA to this forum. Pero for the first time, wala akong natanggap na sagot kay yes o kay no. Ang sabi rito, dapat daw i-publish ng OWA kung sino ang nakatanggap ng benepisyo dahil marami pa rin sa kanila ang walang benepisyong natatanggap na pinangako ng pamahalaan. Would you be able to help us find the truth about this report? Father?
Ano yan? Your question is financial aid given by government agencies within the Philippines or also covering outside the Philippines?
Doon siya sa Italia. Wala pa natatanggap na benepisyo.
Okay, all right. Yes, may news din kaming natatanggap tungkol dyan, no? So, ang isang difficulty kasi because of the lockdown, no? Parang mahirap mag-transact when a particular country is under lockdown tapos may mga curfew regulations, no? So, pero may assurances na ipamimigay siya, no? So, yan siguro ang ating antabayan, no? If they are really true to their words na by hook or by crook, ipamimigay nila ito sa mga karapat-dapat na makatanggap nito.
Siguro pagtulungan na lang natin ito dahil sa, alam niyo naman, sa mga Bicolano kasi pag pinangakuan ka, 50% na yun. Pag nagkatotoo, bonus na yun. So, you know, baka gusto mga kapatid natin sa hanap buhay still have some questions. Please go ahead. Pat, may dagdag ka? Okay, Father, bago natin palayain si Father. Looking forward, Father, anong sitwasyon ang nakikita nyo? Darating ba yung pagkakataon na hindi na mga mangingibang bansa ang mga Pilipino para magtrabaho?
Melo, not during our lifetime.
Not during our lifetime.
Kasi if you are aware, sa gobyerno natin, isinusulong ngayon ang Department of OFW.
Yeah.
Ang isang implication niyan, once a department specific for OFWs is established, mas magiging madali ang ibang bansa, no? So, kumbaga, implicitly and even explicitly, you are saying, okay, madali nang mag-abroad, so avail of it. It's there. Things are easier. Things are more centralized, no? So, yan ang kanyang subliminal message, no? Na it's in the open. People have more access. So, people will be encouraged to work abroad, no? And kaso lang, migration is a basic human right, no? So, hindi mo rin sila pwedeng pigilin, no? The ideal sana is every single person who wants to work abroad must do it not by coercion, no? Or dapat it's a free, willing decision na once they decide to work abroad, this is the best scenario for the whole family, no? Hindi na that's the last option available for them to survive, no? So we should go for the ideal sana.
Okay. Pero Father, just refresh our memory. Bakit ba umaalis ang Pilipino? Sabi nila yung pangingibang bansa could be due to so many reasons. Sa biblical times, ang Panginoong Jesucristo dinala ng mga magulang doon sa Ehipto dahilan sa security concerns. How do you look at it today?
Dati siguro mga 99% ng nag-abroad ay pushed by economics. Economics ang dahilan, no? So the push factor lagi siyang economic reason, no? Pero lately, mayroon ng mga konting porsyento na they go there by choice, no? Kasi ang iba curious, life is already good here in the country, pero they want to experience how to survive and live abroad, no? So some of them, they have decided to work abroad, no? Pero that's very minimal, no? Trickles lang yan. Majority pa rin, if you will notice the figures in the past 6 years from 2014, majority ng umaalis na Filipino ay babae, no? So halos 65% of the available jobs abroad ay sa services, yung service provider na klase ng trabaho, no? So ang nature ng trabaho na ito ay magbigay ng serbisyo sa pangkalahatan, no? So babae ang kalimitan na in demand sa trabahong ito, no? So looking at that, that's a hindi siya highly skilled category, nasa non-skilled siya na sector. So ang push factor dyan is economics.
Okay. Pero yung broken heart, factor din ba yun?
We do have cases na encounter, no? May family problem sila, hindi maganda ang samahan ng mag-asawa, so as an escape, umaalis yung babae, no? Yung iba naman nasawi sa pag-ibig, that's also a coping mechanism to recover from a broken heart experience, no? Pero that's very minimal, no? Ang norm pa rin is people want to secure the future of their families. They want to provide the best for their families, no? So that possibility, the opportunity is better kung magtatrabaho ka abroad, no? Kasi may trabaho naman dito sa Pilipinas, no? But for the same job, mas malaki ang sahod sa abroad, no? So people, they find that option more viable and attractive.
Yeah, okay. Just a very brief question. How do you look at your mission? How do you look at the Scalabrinians' mission as well as that of ECME?
You know, our congregation, we started with the Italian migrants, no? In the 19th century, 25 million Italians migrated, no? So that's why our congregation was born, no? So Italy, as we know very well, has become better off as a country, no? So naging country of destination na siya instead na country of origin ng mga nag-abroad, no? And right now, we have parishes, no? We are serving in different countries all over the world where the Italians went, no? First generation, second generation, we are taking care of them. And usually when we decide to continue or close a mission, the number one criteria that we have to ask is, have you done the last funeral of the last Italian migrant?
Ganon.
Yes. So the pastoral ministry, the spiritual accompaniment that you have to provide, continue providing for the OFWs, will be until the last funeral has been conducted.
Okay. So it seems na ngayon, maraming migrants. So you're still there, with or without the Italians, right?
Yes, and there will be other countries who will join the race, no? Now in Asia, we are looking at the Vietnamese migrants, the Indonesian migrants, the migrants from India has 30 million, Bangladesh, Nepal. So these are recent migration realities that is developing and will continue on, no? Because the world will need workers and cheap workers, no? So and there are willing countries who want to bite these offers.
Okay. Well, siguro, Father, let's end our short interview dun sa ating Wednesday Roundtable at Lido with a short prayer from you, not only for Filipino migrant workers, but for everyone na may pangamba dito sa COVID-19. And do give us your blessing, please.
Okie dokie. I actually have a prayer. Okay.
Yes, Father. Kita nyo, fingertips lang. Ano?
Okay, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Loving God, your desire is for our wholeness and well-being. We hold in tenderness and prayer the collective suffering of our world at this time. With gratitude, we keep close in prayer all medical frontliners, both abroad and here locally, doctors, nurses, and all medical affiliates in hospitals. Also, non-medical frontliners, men in uniform, volunteers who mind all our checkpoints, and all those who ensure that basic services are delivered, pharmacies, bank employees, grocery store keepers, food delivery crews, and everyone whose lives are in danger so that others can live. We grieve the loss of precious lives and vulnerable lives threatened. We ache for ourselves and our neighbors standing before an uncertain future. Inspire our leaders to discern and choose wisely, aligned with the common good. Help us to practice new and creative ways to come together in spirit and in solidarity. Call us to profound trust in your faithful presence, you, the God who does not abandon, and may love go viral in each of us, and hope also may pervade all over the world. All this we ask in the mighty name of Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you very much, Father. Sa lahat po ng mga kapatid natin sa media, I'd like to thank our friends from FOCAP and the mainstream media at yung mga kababayan natin who stayed tuned sa discussions. Si Hil Cachero mula dyan sa Metro Manila. Nais ko pasalamatan si Ginoong Elmer Cato na nagbigay ng update mula sa Libya. Alas 3 ng umaga roon, pero hindi muna siya natulog at nagbigay ng update at anong kalagayan ng mga manggagawa natin doon kay Governor Ben Diokno ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas at kay Father Restie Ogsimer, representing Bishop Ruperto Santos ng CBCP. Ito po si Melo Acuña, nagpapasalamat sa inyong pakikiisa at panalangin natin ang mas maganda, mas ligtas na bansa at daigdig na ating paninirahan ng masaya. Magandang araw po. Maraming salamat. God bless us all. Thank you.